All right, look, I'm down here on the boulevard. Everybody's got a boulevard where they live. And now listen to me. At one point in time, like if we go back behind here and all this housing, there's all kinds of plants, factories that are run down. They're all run down. Fuck it, I'll go this way and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Hang on. Let me get over. So, my whole point is this, is all this is fairly recent. See, and what's right, them railroad tracks, you see what I mean? You gotta have railroad tracks before everything else to get, and while you're doing it. But, you've got housing that over in here that was brand new. It was all brand new. So when the factories popped up, look, you can go to any part of wherever it is you live and you're going to find a section that was once thriving, and that's just shit. Well, it's because that's what they do. When this entity sets up somewhere, the initial beginning, well, not anymore, but with all this, the initial beginning is they're going to set the housing up. These factories are going to be there for, a few decades, if not longer. And they're going, and see, in this square, here's the town square. Town square, all these buildings are the same. Anywhere you go, you can go find town square. Right up here's the we'll go right. So you see it straight ahead right there, them silos or whatever. Right in the middle. That's it's a huge factory. All this through here, and you got a water tower right over here behind it. So they're setting it up. Do you understand? All this right here used to be like on another level. There's this building that we're looking at. That one right there. Of course, there's railroad tracks going to it. But see, let me tell you something. It is so big. And do you see what I mean? So they're going to set it up. There was nothing here. It was just mud and shit that they filled up. And then they slowly started developing, a community. But I'm saying, I'm trying to show you a water tower, because it's the same water tower everywhere you'll see. When that's a lie. It's a lie. Where's it at? It doesn't matter. You've seen it. You've seen them. But see, there's a rock quarry up here. We can't get in there. But everywhere you go, there's a rock quarry to throw the illusion of, this is where we dig for rocks and all this other shit. When that's a lie. But what I'm trying to show you is how, when this was set up, the radio, they had the nightlife, everything was going. And then when you start introducing more impulses into society, and then the factories say, well, they got bought out, so they moved. Well, then that takes everything away from that geographical location. You understand? And that's all the excuses. I know my dad worked for one of these huge companies, and he traveled, and that was the whole design. It's to separate the family. It's for that generation to grow up, bunch of poverty. You control children. They grow up and see things and they don't want to be a certain way, and then it puts them in a direction to where they'll never question anything, and then they do the right thing, and then retirement is retiring the mind. But these, if we look at bread, because that's what he did. He was in the bread business, big companies, and they used to have a factory here in Chattanooga. big factory, and then they closed it down, and then it's all coming out of somewhere in Georgia, and you're like, I remember a long time ago, I'm like, but that don't make no sense. Well, it's coming out of here, and it's a business thing. It's like, well, then that means it doesn't mean it's for the people. See what I mean? Do you see when they slowly shut shit down, and then, because I mean, truthfully, if it was me running this motherfucker, every state would have 1,000 bakeries. Yeah, and I mean, just that alone there'd be jobs all the time. Because, I mean, that's the biggest thing, because we could make some fat ass bread. You know, instead, it's just a few locations, and then that way their little fucking weather thing can destroy it all, and then get on the news and go, see, we don't have no supplies. Well, they're doing a shitty job of getting prepared. See, I can get them on every level, but these fucking dummies, they can't understand it. They can't understand that a fuck up from the hospital bed in a decade, less than a decade, you know, which it ain't me, and it's not them either. So, you know, but it's not hard to see it, because if it was real, everything would be, there'd be millionaires everywhere around here by now. Not millionaires, but you know what I'm saying? There would be no poverty. Those houses would already be torn down and other ones built, but they were thrown up, and it was like beautiful. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa. And then the bullshit comes in. You know what I'm saying? The impulses, and then everything good goes away, and then eventually you give it time, and then it turns into that shit. You know, I mean, there's been many meth houses busted down there, and crack, and all kinds of shit. You know, it's a different nightlife. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just showing you how this thing sets up. This machine. It's a very, just like you'd build a restaurant and you got to have all these damn material and different shit. And well, that's the same way that they set up towns and cities. They set it up, you know, they come in, they know what they're doing, and then in time they control the emotions and everything in and out of there, the money, the product, all that, supplies, and when it's time, they just take it out. So it's nothing new. I mean, it's very easy to see what they do, but then again, I mean, it's just me, you know, and then they just fucking get rid of it and let it burn to flames. You can really see the Phoenix cycle within the towns. You can go to any fucking town, but the ones like that are really getting on the AI kick and all that, well, they're not meant to fucking go down. They're meant to keep going. You know, so it's not hard to look. And Sicario, whatever, in that movie at the end, when he tells that chick she's wanting it something done by the books, man, when are we gonna do something? And then dude comes in there at the end, puts a gun in his throat and says, sign this. And he says, listen, you come from a small town where the order of law still applies. So he's saying that in small towns, y'all can keep fucking around with your power and your pride and all that bullshit. Because you're not going nowhere, so you're just a bubble. And he's like, this is the fucking world of wolves or whatever. And it is. And then they make the reference, Jeff Daniels does in another movie, this is the land of the locusts. Look around, honey. And they ain't fucking lying, buddy. They got it. They're already there. The people don't even know it. They're already in this fucking cycle. They don't know it. They have no idea the current that they're in of pure fucking evil. If they're gonna tell me that black magic ain't real, then why in the fuck can't they look or listen? It's because of the impulse that they have had their entire fucking life. It's just like it's like an AI robot they make. They program that shit. A human being is a computer. You know, in their little space movies, when there's a space astronaut traveling somewhere, you know, and then they land, and then some little boy, because the astronauts are supposed to be so smart, and they're like, what's 831 times 267? And then the astronaut goes, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, wow, it's true. Well, me and you could do the same thing. I'm serious. You just don't know it. I love you.